of the funniest things in the gaming industry is watching a CEO or a game developer get onto Twitter or onto Discord or Reddit or anything else and begin basically a massive crash out session because they don't like the way things are going at the moment in time. We've seen this happen over and over. We've seen it happen with Randy Pitchford. We've seen it happen with other developers. We saw it the other day with Yves Guillemot having an interview, basically just outing himself and Ubisoft creating actual grind scenarios in video games to make you pay more money, and it happens again and again and again. And the funniest part about all of it is that when these things happen, for some reason, PlayStation fanboys have to turn around and blame Xbox again. Look, I'm telling you guys, for a console brand that is apparently dead and never coming back, you boys sure do love to talk a hell of a lot about it. It's really funny how the dead console and dead brand is the one literally getting a PlayStation-owned IP being published by PlayStation on that Xbox platform. Look, you couldn't make it up if you tried, honestly. So it really is wild to watch fanboys fawn over themselves when a developer says something that aligns with their principles about a plastic box and how they worship it. But let's see what's actually going on first before we get into the fanboy content though, shall we? VGC the other day tweeted this. The co-founder and CEO of the studio behind the Ori games has said that the studio is prioritizing the PS5, PS5 Pro, and Nintendo Switch 2 versions of No Rest for the Wicked. And the studio will, quote, see what makes sense for Xbox. Now that's a super weird thing to say, especially because No Rest for the Wicked has direct content tied to the Xbox YouTube channel with their trailer. In fact, every other trailer you find shows that it is coming to the Xbox platform, as every other platform as well. Now the funny thing is, seeing this from VGC is pretty interesting. They gave some options, they gave some information, and then put a link to the actual article. I wonder what another website would say on Twitter about the same exact thing. It's going to be funny to watch. Trust me. Push Square tweeted this out the other day as well. PS5 makes the most sense. Ori Dev explains why it's swapping Xbox for Sony. Oh, there it is. You gotta love it every time, every single time. For some reason, it's always these fanboy websites stoking the flames, being like, PlayStation butter, PS5 Pro butter, $800 for a console. Buy your game, support the developers, boys. It's always the same clowns every single moment in time. VGC having a somewhat correct take on their Twitter account, posting the article and link to it, and then Push Square being like, nah, boys, we're fanboying today, baby. Woo! But you know what? Hold on. Let's see what Thomas Mahler actually had to say, because I do have some concerns about his statements. Let's take a look. This screenshot was pulled from the Discord that Thomas Mahler is in on the VGC article, saying this. By the way, given current market conditions, we might only release on PS5 and potentially Switch 2 for the time being. We'll have to discuss things with Microsoft to see what makes sense for Xbox. I gotta admit, Tommy Timmarino, Tommy Tom Tom, that's a bit of a weird statement to make. When you see something like based on market conditions, the first thing that comes into my mind is you are looking for Microsoft to hand you a bag of money to put the game onto Game Pass. I'm just looking at the words that you wrote on this actual Discord message, because there's more details coming up later, but just on this snippet alone, it kind of makes it sound like things are not going well at Moon Studios, and you're trying to figure out where to publish your game first to keep the actual company afloat. Now look, this isn't the first time this has happened, because you've also talked about having people go through and to give positive reviews on No Rest for the Wicked after you put out a bad patch, which caused people to negatively review the game. And because of those negative reviews, it dropped the game from a very positive down to a mixed rating at that moment in time. Now you did go and put out quite a few hotfixes to fix those things and make the actual review go back up to a very positive, but here's a message that you pointed out during that entire fiasco a few months back. I think people think I'm joking when I'm asking for positive reviews, because in people's mind, there's always some big publisher in the background who will cover costs. Folks, if you're writing here and are enjoying Wicked and are excited for future updates, but haven't left a positive review, it's entirely possible that we won't be around in a couple of months to do anything anymore, simply because we got review bombed, which leads to people not buying the game, which means we're not making any money and we'll have to shut down. I wouldn't ask if our business wouldn't be dependent on it. I also never write reviews on anything, but if you want to see us actually finish Wicked, it's detrimental that we get that review score back up. Now, you see, when I talked about, hey, this seems kind of weird based on market conditions, when you've asked people to leave positive reviews on a patch that you put out for Noah's for the Wicked, that was the issue in the first place, because you literally admitted in the actual video on the Steam store page that you went to fix the actual updates, but you were then at the time guilting your actual Discord users to basically positively review bomb No Rest for the Wicked, because if they didn't, then your studio would in fact be shut down because you wouldn't get any game sales. Do you see how when I put these two things side by side, it kind of looks like you're asking for Microsoft to give you money to put the game onto Game Pass because of market conditions? These things don't really fit well together, and I think that's really the concerning part about all of this. A lot of these things that are lining up don't fit very well, and I think that's the problem people are having with your statements about market conditions and whether or not the game will come to Xbox at launch. So after that Discord post and everybody basically freaking out about it, Thomas Mahler gets called out on Twitter saying this: at Thomas Mahler from Southsack Homie, please confirm. With Thomas Mahler replying, there's nothing to officially confirm yet. We want to support consoles and are just looking at the numbers. PS5 makes the most sense at the moment. Ultimately, we'll ship on all platforms, but likely not at the same time. But unfortunately, though, for Thomas, things get to be a little bit more sticky in that thread, as people are basically saying, hey, this really isn't cool. I'm looking forward to this game, and you're trying to compete in this market, and really, the game should be releasing on all the platforms at the same time, which is usually what most game developers tend to do. And Thomas doesn't really take that too well. Take a look. Alan Wake 198 replies to Thomas Mahler saying this: it's simply not good enough as far as I'm concerned. I won't be supporting any studio that skips Xbox to, quote, prioritize PS5 or Switch. I'll spend my money on studios that release games day one and don't treat the platform that I'm stuck on as an afterthought. Thomas responds to Alan Wake saying this: entitlement much? It costs a ton of resources to make a full console port. As I said, ultimately we'll be on all platforms, but that'll take some time. Moon is about quality above all, so if we do something, we want to take the time to do it right. Where Alan Wake responds saying this: with respect as a consumer, I am entitled to be entitled. It's my money that I spend on games, and if I see a game I've been really looking forward to skip my platform for what will likely end up being many months, I'll be entitled to spend my money elsewhere. All the best. Holy! Oh boy, look, I'm sorry. I got to side on Alan Wake about this. If more people acted this way towards developers, we wouldn't have developers calling gamers entitled much. I think that was a total bullshit move by Thomas to say that to anybody in the space who could have been a potential customer in the first place. In my opinion, Thomas basically started an entire shitstorm because of his Discord message and the way he's responding to people in the first place. Remember how he talked about like CEOs and game devs should have their phones taken away and not be able to use Twitter or Discord? This is the exact reason why. From Thomas going around and asking people to beg for positive reviews or his studio to be shut down, to going around and now saying that game customers who literally will buy their game if it goes on their platform day one are being called entitled, and that is not a good move overall. Regardless of how much work it takes to port a game to a console, that is literally not the care or concern of any consumer directly who has the money that you want them to give you, Tommy. That's the entire process. If you can't put the game on there, then you're going to be losing out because there are going to be other games being released by the time it hits those other platforms. You put your game early access onto Steam. Fine, you got the early access ability right there. Why not just put that game early access onto the console platforms as well if you need those kinds of sales, if the market conditions are not in your personal favor right now? This way you could update those games through those sales and work on those ports directly, seeing as how, from my understanding, PlayStation and Xbox both have an early access program. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section down below, but I think both consoles do in fact have that ability. So literally they could put a previous build of No Rest for the Wicked onto the actual console platforms, have those sales come through directly, then work out whatever deals they want for either PS Plus or Xbox Game Pass, while still having the ability to update those games and put out patches and hotfixes of whatever else is needed, and not call actual consumers and customers entitled for doing so. I mean, that's just what makes the most sense to me. I'm just saying, I mean, a company needs money, right? And you guys almost got shut down for bad reviews. What's this going to possibly do for you guys? But the thing is, it doesn't stop with Thomas Mahler. No. We now have PlayStation fanboys using this as ammunition to prove why Ekbok is, of course, dead again. The Red Dragon says this: no rest for the Xbots. Every day brings more bad news. Turns out not buying games has consequences. Oh, no, Red Dragon, no. We're not doing this, my boy. You are the same dude who got exposed for saying how good it is to rent games from Redbox. You're the same guy who got exposed about how great it was to save money while getting games on Game Pass. You're the same guy who literally dumped his entire YouTube channel because he wanted a fanboy for PlayStation instead, and now you got angry that you didn't get game codes and everybody else did. So what did you do? You defected to the other side like an actual corporate grifting clown. And now you're talking about, oh, when you don't buy games, things go bad. Gee, I wonder what game you guys failed to buy on your own platform that is now being published onto Ekbok, basically just opening the floodgates of it's just live service games and it's just 4 games being in the same predicament. It's almost like you clowns would rather be on Twitter in the first place than to buy the games you think you do to support the developers. Divers, it's time to go to hell, baby! But you see, of course, it gets even better because that generic Eric said this: market conditions, quote unquote, corporate lingo for there is no money in that market. They've been, quote, conditioned to rent and not buy games. Finally, a dev that is telling it how it is. PS5 makes the most sense, quote, because we buy games and support the devs, the very support they need to thrive. How many times do we have to go over this? You boys, you guys, you clowns are not supporting the developers. You're giving the publisher all of the money. The developers have already been paid. They've already gotten it taken care of, especially if they're not independent. If they're by a bigger publisher, all that money you're giving, the $70, the $80, the microtransactions, the devs don't see that money. You know who sees that money? The publishers. The only way you support the developers is when you buy the game from the actual indie dev directly, and there's no publishing arm around it. And you can't sit there and say that you guys buy games when literally we saw the exact writing on the wall that the only games you fucking clowns in fact buy are the same games everybody else does too. The same FIFA, the same Madden, the same Call of Duty. Oh, I'm sorry. You guys now buy Xbox games. You don't even buy your own PlayStation ones. You guys would rather buy Xbox games on your PlayStation than buy your own PlayStation games. Support the developers? No, it turns out you're supporting the company you guys think that you actually hate, when in reality, you're just jilted Xbox fanboys from the very beginning. My boy, generic Eric, go on ahead, use a little voice changer like last time and try to cope yourself into thinking that you got a W, when in reality, we know you're that dude who sits in the back corner of his house and listens to Stained on a CD player because dad didn't give you enough hugs when you were 12 years old. But of course, it wouldn't be a PlayStation fanboy video without good old Dreamcast guy. Coming at it once again with another Ekbok dead video. I guess they'll rent this fucking do once again for this guy because apparently he had to go on a 10-minute tirade talking about this as well. And baby, when you hear what he's got to say, it's just every time with these guys.
Hey there, gamers, Dreamcast guy here, and today we have to talk about the console wars because yesterday a very strange statement came out from a big upcoming game. The people that made Ori and the Blind Forest, they're currently working on this project called No Rest for the Wicked. Now, this is currently in Steam Early Access. This is actually my gameplay of it. I've played about 25 hours of it. It's basically like a top-down Dark Souls. It's slow, it's got heavy combat, it's very, very fun. But when they launched this in Early Access, the developers were very clear that the point of this Early Access was to raise funds, to make more modes, to flesh out the campaign, and to port it to consoles. But now they're saying, we're not going to put this on Xbox because there's no point. Games don't sell on Xbox, nobody cares about the Xbox, nobody hypes up the Xbox. At this point, if you port a game to Nintendo Switch 2, it's going to sell. If you put it on PlayStation 5 or the PlayStation 5 Pro, it's going to sell 10 times more ever than you could possibly hope to get on Xbox. And a lot of people are pissed about this. A lot of people are actually calling him a liar for saying that it's just really not profitable to put stuff on Xbox unless you're getting that like Game Pass paycheck.
Oh, yes, guys. It is totally not profitable to put any game onto Xbox. It's a dead platform. 30 million users? They don't buy games. 30 million people? They don't exist. They're not real, guys. They're not actual users. They're not actual people with money. They don't give Microsoft money every month for Game Pass. They don't buy games. Why would you ever put your game on there in the first? I mean, it would be stupid for any company whatsoever. They would have to be actual idiots to turn around and put their game onto the Xbox platform. Why? Because nobody buys games there. I mean, any company that did that would have to be the dumbest company on the face of the earth to think that they would get any sales whatsoever by putting their IP onto the Xbox platform, because nobody's going to buy that. How is it that like 2 weeks ago, you clowns were losing your minds saying it's over, baby? I don't know why PlayStation is doing this. They're the stupidest thing ever. And now all of a sudden, oh, wait a minute, putting your game on Xbox? That's a financially irresponsible move to do. So I guess PlayStation is being financially irresponsible? Look, you guys, look, I'm just going to be honest with you, okay? Look. It's just 4 games. Oh, hold on. I'm sorry. Wrong one. It's just live service games. There we go. See, that's different. Guys, right? This isn't a signal. It's not a signal that they're going to put the whole slate on the Xbox. Look, even I fell for just 4 games thing, but you guys are going on a whole other different tangent about this shit. And to sit there and 2 weeks ago think the sky is falling, to turn right back around and be like, well, putting your game on Xbox, that's a misfire altogether, is the craziest thing to see when the company you suckle off on did the thing you're saying is bad to do, Dreamcast guy.
His full statement is that a lot of people are claiming, oh, you're manipulating us. People have said that they're just trying to threaten Xbox or they're trying to get a payout. This is their reply to a lot of their stuff. This is not a shakedown, it's common sense. Porting to Xbox means you have to port it to not just the Xbox Series X, but also the Series S, and that'll take more time to optimize compared to the amount of work it takes to put it on the PlayStation 5 and the PS5 Pro. We'll first support the platform that has the most users purely out of resource reasons. It's just common sense with us having to make the right moves given the resources we have. Now, to keep in mind, this is a smaller independent studio. They are pretty big. The Ori and the Blind Forest people used to be part of Microsoft. Their company is called Moon Studios. they've left. It seems like, for whatever reason, working with Microsoft really kind of sucked, and they were like, and they found a way to basically break their contract to officially, legally separate themselves and become an independent studio. And when you're independent, it means that your failures, your success, your sales, it's a lot more crucial to your longevity. So I don't even really blame them for sort of doing that math and saying, okay, it'll cost, what, $500,000 is what I've heard some people kick around, $500,000 to make a good port of our game onto PlayStation 5 or Xbox. Are we even going to make that $500,000 back on Xbox? So I understand them saying, let's start with PlayStation, and if it sells really, really good, then we'll invest our personal money to put it on Xbox. Or maybe if Microsoft wants to give us that Game Pass paycheck, maybe it'll be worth it then.
Dreamcast, are you I need to know. I really need to know, because that way I can put you exactly where I can place you, and I can understand where you're coming from. Because right now, nothing of what you just said back there makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. First of all, using Nib95 again as a source. My boy, never, ever, ever shaking those allegations. That's number one. Number two, as the quote was saying, it's not a shakedown. As you turned around and said, Moon Studios is a small, big studio that's indie, which, okay, I don't know how that works in the first place, that had to legally break their ties from Xbox because they didn't like working with them. When in reality, that wasn't the case at all. In fact, Microsoft broke off working with Moon Studios because of toxic work culture that was happening inside of Moon. It's crazy what like 5 seconds of Google can show you, my boy. And then the funnier part is you talk about like, well, since they're a small studio, a big small studio that's indie, every success and failure is dependent upon them. So yeah, putting it on the PlayStation first would mean they get to make money because everybody buys their games on PlayStation, right? But then you said, hey, unless they get the Game Pass bag. When in the tweet behind you, they said it wasn't a shakedown. So even from your own perspective of an actual studio, you're already contradicting yourself. Is it not a shakedown? Or would you make it, in fact, a shakedown to then go and get the money from Xbox? It kind of seems like you didn't think this one through in the first place, because you try to sympathize with Moon Studios and then give the incorrect information about what happened between them and Microsoft, and then at the same time say, well, look, when you put your game on PlayStation, people are going to buy it there. Then you could take that $500,000 to make the Xbox port, or you can use that to convince Microsoft to give you the money. When in reality, Thomas Italy just earlier in the video said we have market conditions that we're relying on about where we're going to put our game first. It's almost like it is a shakedown. But hey, you know what I'm saying? Let's keep going. This is going to be something. This is the strange sort of vibe I get from a lot of Xbox fans, which is like a depressed anger. I do think there are a lot of people that bought the Xbox Series X because of the potential, the promise. Hey, we know we're getting Halo Infinite and a new Fable and a new crazy Gears of War and a new Forza. They bought it because of the promise. That's the way all next gen works. If you buy a PS5, it's not just, hey, here's the idea of a PS5. It's, hey, here's the potential of a PS5. Here's all the games that will exist someday. And I think that when it comes to PS5 and Xbox, this generation in general has been kind of depressing. Very, very few crazy good first-party games. But with Xbox, the promise has utterly collapsed. Starfield sucked. Hellblade sucked. I mean, it's just been an absolutely abysmal generation for Xbox. It's clearly just killed the brand forever. But at this point, it does feel like the Xbox fans, instead of turning against Xbox, are turning against anybody that questions God Phil Spencer. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. They don't want to go against their God, Phil Spencer. Just like you don't want to go against your precious PlayStation about anything they do that's negative at any specific time, Dreamcast guy. It's kind of weird how you're using fucking James, of all people, in terms of actually pointing out the same tweets that we had earlier. But James then went ahead and cut out the last piece of context that literally proves correct why Alan Wake in that tweet thread was the right thing of all, and why his perspective was in fact correct. You clowns are the ones going around and saying, support the devs, buy your games, be a sheep, be a shill, just buy the game, buy. And then what happens? You get fed slop. You said this generation across both consoles are having bad games altogether, and you only named off the Xbox ones. When the guys on PlayStation are so desperate for anything in a video game sense, they're going out and spending all their money on Xbox games. The same Xbox games you guys said were trash in the first place. I can't wait to see the sales of every other Xbox game you guys called trash going around and selling, 2 million units plus on that actual platform. It's going to be kind of funny pulling those receipts and saying, whoa, wait a minute. Wait, weren't you guys making fun of the Metacritic scores on these games? And now you're buying them full price? Kind of weak, kind of weird if you ask me, right? Just a little bit. Phil Spencer has nothing to do with an independent game developer deciding to delay a game on a different platform and not even confirm anything yet stir the actual pot on the internet by making a Discord post, by then going on to NeoGAF, by then going on to Twitter, and then starting an actual fire, and then having people like you run around and being like, Ekbok dead once again, boys, told you, just like we see it every single week, every fucking day. Ekbok dead, baby. Just buy a PlayStation, be just like me, join the cult. It's gonna be cool, guys. I swear it's pretty awesome over here. Paying more money for video games, not having access to any sort of online service to get games cheaper, not having the ability to going around and paying for another online service to have access to the internet too, which you shouldn't pay for in the first place. Paying more money for your consoles as well. Buying the Pro model for $800, so you could just buy a PC at that point in time with that kind of money that you're spending, and then rebuy your entire library at full price because you know what? You like the blue color on the console instead of the green color on the console. The actual clownery and stupidity that Dreamcast guy and other fanboys do not see how this is a bad thing for all consumers, because when the shoe was on the other foot with Warhammer 40k Space Marine being exclusive to the Xbox platform, you guys lost your minds. You remember that? I remember that. You don't remember that, but I do. When exclusives are for you, you're happy with it. You're fine. Everything's great. Xbox dead. When Xbox gets an exclusive, hold on a second. Wait a minute. You're not going to make any sales. Everything's going to fall apart. Why would you even do that? You're stupid. But then all that flies in your face when PlayStation puts Helldivers onto Xbox, and the gates have now opened, which means more games are going to walk their way over to the platform that you've been calling dead for the last 10 plus years. Congratulations, you clowns played yourselves. But you know what? With all that insanity being pushed to the side, I really want to see what happens between Xbox and Moon Studios, especially with their game launching onto the Xbox platform. It'd be really funny, though, if all of a sudden Thomas starting all this shit online, saying all these things, getting everybody riled up, all the articles being made, all the actions being done, people making videos about this, calling Xbox dead once again. If all of this turns out to make Moon Studios get a Game Pass money bag, if that happens because of all of this, wouldn't that be interesting? Wouldn't that be interesting? But as always, if you liked today's video, thank you. And if you didn't like it, fuck you. If you want to see more of this kind of content, more PC port reviews, gaming news, Steam Deck videos, fanboy content like this, and live streams every Saturday night, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, subscribe to the channel. We're on our way to 88,000 subscribers, and I just want to say thank you guys so very much. If you want Discord access and emotes during live streams, become a YouTube member. It's as low as $1. If you don't want to spend the buck, don't sweat it. Saturday nights, 8:45 p.m. Eastern. Come on down to the stream. Trust me, you'll have a hell of a time. I guarantee it. With all that being said, though, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a great one, and I'll see you gooners next time. Peace!
It's time to stop. It's time to stop, okay? No more. Where the fuck are your parents? It's time to stop. It's time to stop, okay? No more. Where the fuck are your parents? You need to stop everything. What are you doing with your life? This is not okay. This needs to stop now. This is stop.